Hi, my name is Nicole Dillard. I am applying for the SLP position with early intervention in the Jordan School District. By way of introduction, I graduated from the University of Utah in speech language pathology last year in May of 2023. I have taken the year off because I had a baby in September, but previously to going to grad school, I did work in early intervention with DDI Vantage. I was the equivalent of a teacher, so over there it's called Child Development Specialist, and I loved it so much that it made me want to go back to school and further my education. So with that being said, I will address the 3 questions in the application. The first one being, what skills and strategies do you use that effectively engage students in learning, and how will students benefit from you as their educator? I think the best strategy that I use with this population is going to be play and really following the child's lead, because when they are having fun, they're more willing to work and engage with you, and you're going to get more out of them. How will students benefit from having me as their SLP? I think the biggest thing that I can do is really include parents in the education process. I'm there twice a month usually, and the parents are there all the time. And so I really think it's important to let the parents know what they can do and teach the parents what they can do while I'm gone. I think that's the most effective thing. However, I know, having my own 2 kids, that sometimes kids don't work as well for their parents. So me bringing the novelty and the fun can also really get things moving as far as like their vocabulary and their willingness to work. How will you use assessment to improve your certain student learning outcomes, and describe a time when you used assessment data to improve student learning outcomes? I do believe in assessment. And kind of going off assessment has been really helpful in creating goals with families. For example, I know the BDI is, does your child use about 10 words or more? And a lot of times, if they're not, parents want to start there. And so I really build off what we've seen in the assessment, especially if they're overwhelmed by, like, I don't know what I want to start with, like goals, to start with like what they weren't doing on the assessment, and then making it more individualized so it's more doable for the families. For example, if they aren't using those 10 words yet and that's somewhere that they want to start, then we can say, okay, where is like communicating the biggest struggle for you? Is it at mealtime? Is it at bath time? Is it when you're going out and about? Like, let's focus on like a routine that's really hard for you, and then work on building vocabulary in that setting. And that can be our starting goal. In the same vein, I really appreciate dynamic assessment and informal assessment. And so not just solely going off of the standardized assessment, but also going off of what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis and what's working best for the child and the family. Lastly, how will you plan lessons to develop intentional learning outcomes to meet the diverse needs of our student population? The thing I love most about early intervention is the play aspect and the freedom that gives. I really love with this age group that you can use one toy, game, or activity to target multiple things like joint attention, turn taking, following directions, expressive language, receptive language. So all of those things can be addressed using one toy or activity. So I really like, before going in, to read over each child's file, to have a plan of, this is what we addressed the last time, this is what we're going to address this time, how are things going, and like getting updates from the family. But I feel like with early intervention, you never know what the child's going to respond to that day, what's been a struggle for the parents over the last few weeks since you've been there. And so while I try to have a lesson plan going in, I also try to go in with an open mind and being flexible so that we can target and work on whatever the family needs that day to make sure that they're getting individualized service.